Let's hear those valuable positions. Who would like to start? Go ahead.
Okay, so there's 3 facets to my business, Z-Guides. So I did write a value proposition for each of them, but they're quick. The first is Z-Guides provides affordable and interesting tours for tourists by recording real guides on GPS automated tours and offering customers more choices and a better experience than our competitors. Second, Z-Guides provides income for guides being automated out of their business by automating their tours and paying them the majority of profits generated. Third, Z-Guides provides market exposure for guides offering private tours by creating a comprehensive guide marketplace. Did that all make sense?
Okay, so I'm gonna ask everybody else. Who can repeat what?
Chris.
What Z-Guides are doing? Or take a stab at it. Okay.
They're providing automated GPS tours that are auditory based for tourists in different landscapes to do self-guided tours.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. So now, but that is just one part of the business, right?
Right.
Okay. Can anybody else repeat? So what is the X here? What is the value? Or let's start with Y. Who is the Y in this scenario?
Guides, tour guides.
Okay. What is the X here?
His database.
Is that the value? So what is the value that you're providing to the guides or tourists?
I'm not sure if you said it, but I would assume it's like just more accurate information for a geographic specific place. Maybe you said it and I missed it. I'm taking a stab.
So what is the value that we're providing?
Local value.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And how are you doing it?
App-based.
By having an app. Okay. So the one thing is, I like your value propositions that you create for each individual, like there are 3 of them, right? A lot of times, as you could see from the room, if all of the people that are here were not able to answer all these questions, it's probably not a good value proposition, right? Because what you want from this value proposition, if you tell people what are you actually doing, right? You want them to get excited about it. It's hard to get excited about something that you don't understand, right? Or don't see the value in.
Could I try again with just one of them?
Go ahead.
Okay. Just go with the main one. Z-Guides provides affordable and interesting tours for tourists by recording real guides on GPS automated tours, which offers customers more choices and a better customer experience than our competitors.
Is that clear?
I think you could totally abbreviate it.
Like cut that
Like take out all the pretty words. So like we allow real-time geographic guides through our app for customers to be informed or something like that, like just short.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, that's what we want. That one statement. Right.
So affordable and interesting tours for tourists by offering real guides, recorded tours.
That is pretty good. Who likes that one? Yeah. Everybody, another everybody.
Thank you all.
Majority of the people. That was really good first try out.
Okay,
Somebody
next.
else.
We eliminate the errand of the gas station for an individual or companies by delivering fuel to the customers.
Can you repeat that again, slower?
Okay, sorry. We eliminate the errand of the gas station for an individual or companies by delivering fuel to the customers.
Okay. So let's do, who's the Y here? So who is the customer?
Anybody with a vehicle.
Okay.
Anybody with a vehicle that doesn't want to go to the gas station or doesn't have time to go to the gas station.
Okay. So those are all assumptions, but it wasn't said, right?
Yeah.
So
Or
when you,
individuals or companies.
Okay, so it's still vague, right? There are a lot of individuals, there are a lot of companies.
Well, people that have vehicles, that have gas tanks.
Okay, is everybody gonna be using your service?
Essentially, people that want convenience.
Okay, so we're getting closer to who it actually is.
Busy people.
Okay, good.
Companies that want to eliminate gas cards and accounting errors and want to save on man-hour times.
So so a lot of times, and you're gonna cover it, right? For all of you, there might be various value propositions for different customer segments, right? So one, your company might be serving for the gas stations, right? Or for the companies.
Yeah.
And then the other value proposition you need to create is for the individuals.
So I have a company like fleet vehicles, and then I have executive accounts, and then I have individual accounts, and then I have value propositions for every one of them.
Okay, so one thing when you want to figure it out when you're starting a business is also who is going to be your early adopter, right? So who you're actually going to be going after
It's
first.
to sustain my business is fleet accounts or companies that have fleet vehicles because they are the easiest scheduling system, I guess, because all their vehicles are in one place through a period of time.
So that is what I would focus your value proposition on that, right?
Okay.
For that specific customer. And that is something, when you're describing for why, when we are saying like it's better to be specific and broad than vague and right,
Okay.
because more specific you are, more I have an idea of who you're actually targeting, right? And then I'm within that demographics, right? If you're gonna be really vague about who is your customer or what are you doing, it doesn't get me that excited.
You're going to
And you
give
don't
me vague answers.
Exactly, and you cannot go out and test your value proposition, which is going to be, this should be structured as a hypothesis.
Yep.
Then you're going to go out and actually go out and test it and ask people about it. Is this the value you're looking for? Are these the problems that, this solution can actually solve for you? Right? That was pretty good though. Somebody else?
Wait.
But I know we had two people from that table. Sorry, we gotta say that. Go ahead.
We offer a deeper awareness on the planet and our relationship with it for travelers by providing a more intimate and powerful experience.
Okay, so what do those guys do?
What does your company do?
I know it's vague, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to set up a scalable and replicable model of essentially Airbnb type experience, or Airbnb with experiences, but I'm trying to find a niche into the market. Like, I want travelers to come to like a specific area, have an intimate travel experience with it, like really, like maybe farm on the land for a week, or have some experiences where they grow to appreciate that land, and then they go back home and it kind of changes them.
Oh, like a wolf database?
Like ecotourism?
Something like that. I'm still exploring that idea. Yeah.
Right. So what I would suggest, even though you're still exploring that idea and you kind of went through that thought process of what are you trying to accomplish, right? But again, when you think about it, it's like, okay, when you're putting these value proposition or any other hypothesis on your business model canvas, try to be as specific of what you think you're gonna be doing, right? Because that will allow you to test like, okay, am I right or wrong, right? Everybody when they're building a business, they're gonna come in with their own assumptions, what customers want, how is your distribution gonna look like, and things like that, right? So on that one, I would leave it up to you to figure out and be really specific about the Y's, the X, and then figuring out on the Z part, right? But I think the most important thing is this X and Y, right?
So we're working on a local kombucha and kava bar, and our value proposition is we provide an inclusive social space for young adults by serving local health and wellness products in an upscale bar and lounge setting.
Who can repeat what they're doing?
They're having a kava bar and kombucha bar.
Okay, somebody else?
They're creating a place for younger people to have mind-altering experiences.
Line altering, okay.
Kava.
Yep.
21, I turned.
No, so our idea is like people who are under 21 can still participate in nightlife.
can just go to banana.
Great, but was that kind of, I think the sentence that you said after, right, that's where I see the value of being, because you say is it for young adults or young, initially in your value proposition, what was it?
Young adults.
Young adults, so, but then you mentioned you want people that are under 21 to be actually able to come and enjoy, the nightlife,
And
right?
that's being specific.
Yeah, and that is way more specific and helping to understand, like, I would consider myself still young adult, right? Come on.
You wanna limit it. You don't have to be under 21 to come too, but like it's for everybody.
That is a good point, right? But if you're gonna be figuring out, so really, why you should be specific about like who is actually your customer, and we're gonna talk about this a little bit later, right? Because you will need to figure out ways how you're gonna reach that customer. You're gonna reach differently the people that are under 21 than reaching the people, young adults such as me, right? Like we get our information from different sources, right? So that is why like, figuring out the why part is really important because it's not necessarily let you know who is the customer, but also how you're going to approach it, how you're going to convert these people to be a customer, right?
Do you want to have just one overarching value proposition sentence, or do you want to have these multiple value proposition statements for different segments of your customer base?
So I would say at the beginning, right, when you're going to be testing, when we're going to talk about it, you should start really wide, right? In order to figure out who is specifically that wide customer. And you're going to be figuring out, okay, who is the one that's going to bring us the more money or has the most interest into what are we providing, right? So at the beginning, when you start, right, you can figure out, okay, this is what we think we are, but we think there are all these additional customers that might be actually attracted to our business, and this is the value that we think we're going to provide them, right? Because you're going to provide me a different value than somebody, that is still in high school potentially. Maybe, or maybe not, you don't know, right?
So,
Yeah.
we make diving safer and easier for divers by mapping and communicating with divers wirelessly.
Okay. So what I'm gonna ask, what is the X? What is the value? Can somebody tell me?
Diving safer. Diving safer.
Okay. Is that correct?
Good.
Was it said in the value proposition, or that's something that you guessed?
No, he said it.
Can you repeat your value prop?
We make diving safer and easier for divers by mapping and communicating with divers wirelessly.
Okay. Somebody else? What is the why? Good. By doing what? What is the Z? How do they do it?
It's an underwater cell phone.
Kind of, yeah.
Good. But see, when we asked who was the why, everybody actually said who it actually was. It was really easy to understand because it's a specific, segment that they're going after. So that was actually a really good value prop. All right, there are some examples. We're gonna skip this. So characteristics of a good key, right? So one thing is it needs to communicate concrete results and benefits that people are actually going to be getting out of your product, right? It's not necessarily just listing the features, that you have, but it's going to be talking about that value, that benefit, why people actually want to buy your product. People are not buying your products because of the features that you have, but because of the value that those features deliver, right? Maybe you guys appreciate the difference between those two. It needs to be unique specifically to you, right? Like why customers should actually go with your product or service rather than anybody else, right? And it needs to be simple and understandable. And we kind of covered that. Like it's really hard to get excited about something that people don't understand, right? And for us as an investor, so imagine that, I'm in a meeting with you and I have no idea, so what are you doing? How am I going to go to my partners to actually explain what these people are doing and the idea that we're investing in, right? Like I need to be able to communicate and tell you back what are you guys doing? Why am I excited about this idea, right? So the other thing that we come up with value proposition and what value you are actually providing, we have this dilemma between the painkillers versus the vitamins. So which one do you guys want to be? Painkiller or the vitamin?
Painkiller.
Exactly, right? So what you want to see is the value that you're providing, or your product should be the painkiller, right? It's not the nice to have. Everybody say like, okay, it will be good to take vitamins, it's good for you, everybody understands that, it's gonna make you healthier, but does everybody take vitamins?
No.
No. I bought a couple of, big boxes from Costco and I still have them 2 years later, right? So that's not what you want your product to be. You actually want to be the painkiller, being like, oh my God, this problem, my headache is so painful that I cannot actually do anything else unless I take that Advil, right? You want to be the Advil to your customers. And here are some examples for currently for Facebook. So their value proposition, one, is connecting with friends. And you can see we have 3 value propositions because you have 3 customer segments that they're actually serving, right? So it's not just you, that for everybody else that you're connecting with people. However, there are people that have the reach, relevance, and engagement, right? Those are going to be potentially businesses. And then you have distribution and payments. Those are all the people that are developing on the top of platform and different things like Facebook. So then we kind of covered that when we talk about your value proposition. What is your customer segment, right? Or who are the people that are going to be buying your product, or you're potentially solving these problems for them? So when you're going to be going out, what do you need to figure out about your customers, right? It's not just a lot of times when we ask people like, oh, who is your customer? Just start with the demographics, right? The people are, usually female that are between like 18 to 25, live in this specific geographic area and things like that. That is good to know, right? But what is more important, you need to go a little bit deeper in order to understand your customer, right? You need to understand what does their day-to-day life look like, right? Where your product will actually come into play and where you can add value within their day-to-day activities, right? Because you might have the best product ever, however, I think we had this one example that one of our management partners, Omar, he used to develop software for healthcare companies and like these big databases. And then so they were developing software for the doctors, right? And it might have, their software actually solved a lot of problems that these doctors were facing. But they could not figure it out. This was outside of their day-to-day routine of what they were doing. They needed to go out of their way in order to use the software in order to provide them the value. And people do not want to get out of their way, right? Your product or service should be incorporated into what people are actually doing, right? It's not about adjusting customers' ways, how are they doing things, but it's adding the value to the things that they're already doing or on the top of them. The other things, you got to figure out what jobs they want to get done, right? Then you have what are the pains they want to solve, what are the gains they want to see, and how important are those to them, right? That comes between comparing the painkillers versus the vitamins. And how do they solve the problems today? That is the status quo, right? You got to understand what are they currently doing in order, to alleviate those problems that they have and how painful it is. Remember, customers do not exist to buy from you, but you exist for them, right? So it's not about what the product that you are selling them, right? It's about what are the value that you are providing for them. So, customer, you're going to have when you come up with a value proposition, right? You can have the same product, you might provide different value to each customer. You might have this, Christmas sweater, and the reaction for a gift on Christmas might be like this, like, oh my God, it's another Christmas sweater, I'm never gonna wear it, right? Or you can have a guy like that. You want to have these guys be your customer and figure out who are those guys and how you're gonna reach them, right? And then when we were talking about your value propositions, right? Everybody was saying, okay, down the line, everybody's gonna be using our product, right? That might be actually the case, However, at the beginning, you want to figure out who is that early adopter, who has the biggest pain right now that your product can actually solve, right? It's not the mainstream user 10 years down the line. And we spoke about these. The internet users, these are the different customer segments that you're gonna have, right? Then you can next. All right, the last thing before we go into interview, we gotta cover the product market fit and how you actually achieve it. And there are different things when people think about the product market fit, right? And this definition is talking about when your minimum viable product matches your customer archetype's needs, wants, and desire, right? So you find your value proposition for the right customer segments and actually refine it, right? That's when you figure it out. And when this happens, when you have traction, right? If you find those people that want your product and you develop the product that people want and add the value that you're supposed to, people are going to be buying your product, right? They're going to be excited about it. You do not need to be spending millions and millions on marketing in order to get them to buy it, because why would not buy it as something that makes their life easier, right? Or solve the problem that I currently have. So we differentiate between 3 stages of a startup, right? And I think the first one is problem solution fit. And I think majority of you are not even reached that stage, right? And that is figuring out, do I have a problem worth solving? And that becomes how you're gonna know if you have a problem worth solving. It's from going out and talking to people. Is this a really big problem for them? Or is it something that they can live with, right? After that, once you figure out you have a problem worth solving and spending your time and resources on, right? You're gonna be talking to people about the potential solution. Like, what are the things that they're actually looking for, right? Do they want to do things faster, cheaper, better, less hustle, saving hours, like what are saving energy, whatever that is, right? The second stage, after that, you will try to get to a product market fit. Did I build something that people are willing to use or buy, right? And once you have a product market fit, just then you can actually go and scale, right? Because you're gonna figure it out. I'm not sure if I have that startup cycle, right? We're gonna get into that inflection point that you figure out how things actually work. You figure out having the traction, like, okay, if I do X, Y is gonna happen, right? So how are you gonna figure it out? Or when you know you can pass each stage? So for you guys, I would say it's really important to figure out the demographics and who is your early adopter, right? And have data to actually back it. And that data is coming from those customer interviews, right? So I believe when you're gonna be presented to your, at the business line competition, and you're gonna have data back up that people say like, okay, these people say they have these problems, right, that they identify that we are solving, and they're looking for these solutions, and we're the ones that can actually solve it for them. That's when you're gonna know that you have, the problem solution fit. So then going into, you must have a problem, right? And a big problem that you're solving. The nice to have, it's nice, but as we talked about environments. Identify minimum features needed to solve this problem, right? So you figure out what is the problem, and now you gotta figure out how you're actually gonna deliver that solution, right? And don't get, kind of stuck on having 10 to 30 features. We're talking about the minimum features that are solving the immediate needs, right? It's not something that is nice to have 5 years from now, but it's what is the one need that they have right now, the problem that they have, and how I can solve it with what features. You have a price the customer is willing to pay, right? So a lot of times people come with great ideas, problems, but if you cannot prove that the customer is actually willing to pay for your product, you don't necessarily have a business, right? Or you can have a nonprofit business. And then you can build a business around it, right? So that is something that Peter was talking about those financials, like, okay, what are the numbers there? How are you actually going to make money? And does this make sense? Can you create a viable business around this idea? So I believe if you're gonna go to business line competition and you're gonna prove and have all of these, you have a pretty good chance of actually getting placed or winning the competition, right? I don't think, or maybe, I'm not sure, some of you might have or get into a product market fit, right? But I believe that it's gonna take more than a month or two in order to get that. And how are you gonna know? So there's this test that people do. It's like when you are saying that if you discontinue your product, will they be very disappointed, somehow disappointed, and will not turn off, right? If you go out to your customers that you're currently using your product, and 40% of them will say that they are very disappointed, you might be having a product market fit, right? And after that, you're actually going to skip this. So you can see here, putting together the value proposition in a customer segment, right? So connect with friends, that is for us as the users, you have read relevance and engagement, that is for advertisers and marketers, and then have those developers and distribution payments, right? So when you are thinking about what value your business actually provides, and especially when it comes to the marketplace as well, right? Make sure that you have, multiple customer segments and different value proposition for each. One thing that is really useful to do this is the value proposition canvas, right? To kind of help you sketch out different things that we talked about. So this is the customer side, and this is going to be the value proposition, right? And then you kind of going to be matching one of those. What are the things that we have, and what are the things, the levers that you have? What are the gains they're looking for, and what are the gains that you are providing to them? What jobs are they gonna want to be done, and what products and services are going to solve those jobs for them, right? And how are you going to do all this? Again, it's always coming back to that going out and talking to people, right? You're not going to figure it out just by thinking about it. So that leads me to customer interviews. Are there any questions before we move to the customer interviews?
Could you, the Sean Ellis test, just one more time, it was, so it's retaining 40% of your users, not.
So if you say that, if you ask your users, right, that are using your product or that use your product, if you discontinue their product, how would they feel? So one is very disappointed, and I think there are either 3 or 4 levels, right? One is very disappointed, right? They're going to be crying and begging you to not, to actually keep producing whatever you're producing, right? Then you have somewhat disappointed, and I believe then you have those people that don't really care, right? So 40% of those people that are using your product will say they will be very disappointed and they cannot live without it. That's when you figure out that there's potentially something out there for your business.
Thank you.
All right, 20 minutes before lunch, so we're gonna go through this. Okay, so I think I have like 14 tips on what to focus on when you are going out and doing your customer discovery, right? And the first one is build a frame around learning, not pitching, right? So you're not going and talking to this customer and pitching your idea. What are you trying to do? What you're trying to do is go out and learn about what problems do they have, right? What are they looking to gain from the solutions? How does their everyday life look like, right? What are their priorities? What do they really care about? Right? It's more surrounded around that learning environment, not necessarily pitching. Because when you pitch somebody, right, it kind of comes down to like binary answer. Is yes, do I like your idea? Yes. Do I like your idea? No. Right? You want to avoid that, right? So get to know your customer. And then eventually what you can do through this customer discovery, what we've seen with our teams would happen, a lot of times you're actually going to come out and customers come out from that customer discovery. Right? Because they're going to tell you what problems they have and what they want to see, and then you're going to develop what they actually want to see, and then you can go back and say like, hey, would you be willing to test this product? We listened to what you actually said, and we thought that this might actually add value to your team, right? So build the frame around learning, not pitching.
So when is the time to pitch people just to see if your product or idea is even valuable to even pursue?
Yeah, so I would say it's after that, after you figure out if you have a problem solution fit, right? So that's when you're actually going to come out like, okay, I figure out what is the problem, I know what people are actually looking for, right? And then you can come out and try to test, or whether that's a developer, have an MVP of saying like, okay, this is what we are thinking about doing. Would that solve the issues that we talked about? Do you see there are any problems that it might potentially arise, right? But it should not be before that. You should not be opening up with, this is what we do, what do you think about it, type of thing.
So in the Jens Molbach Coinstar example, when he was doing those interviews, he wasn't using this method, but he just didn't know it was existing. So he's asking people, do you have a coin jar at home? And so he's not telling them, hey, would you use this machine that charges you money to turn money into money? So he's learning about the problem first. But once he got through, the question's about, do you have, like if they said no, then that's the end. Like they don't have the problem that he's trying to solve. If they said yes, they do, and they don't have any, they don't do anything else with it, like take it to the bank or count it themselves, then you can introduce the solution. I think the order of the interview is really important, so that you're not pitching, you're not selling, because then you're biasing the result.
In sales, it's called leading questions.
Right. Yeah, that's done on purpose actually, as a sales technique. But in this case, you're not selling anything yet. You're just trying to get
Information.
proof that you should exist at all as a business.
Don't ask customers what they want, measure what they actually do. Right? So I think there was like this quote from Henry Ford. Like if I would ask them what they want, people would say faster horses, not a silver car. Right? So a lot of times you should be observing of what people are actually doing. Right? I would say, yeah, I want to be healthier. Yeah, I want to be, I should be taking those vitamins. Then do I really? No, I don't. So maybe it's not necessarily my priority. Right? So you got to be observing people, what are they actually doing, not of what actually they're telling you, right? And then I would say doing customer discovery, right? It's kind of like an art, right? Because there are a lot of ways how you can go about it, and it's looking at the data and coming to meaningful conclusion. It's really hard, right? Stick to a script to guide your interview. In order to be able to compare the data that you have from various customer interviews, if you're going to be asking everybody different questions, it's kind of hard to compare the answers that people will give you, right? So trying to create that one script that you're going to be going through, right? And I say here, interview, it should not be necessarily, that you're going to have a questionnaire and then you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, but it should be more of a conversation that you have with the person with line of those many questions that you're going to be asking. Right? Because then it's a little bit more productive conversation. People open up a little bit more, right? Cast a wider net initially, right? And that kind of comes down to, you might have in mind who is your customer right now. However, you might not know who are the other people out there that might be using your product. So at the beginning, what you're going to be talking to is a lot of people, and slowly we start narrowing it down and seeing, okay, this is the group that is actually interested more, right? This might be the high school students that might be interested more in our business. It might not be the, young professionals or whoever that is. But at the beginning, you don't know them. So you gotta talk to a lot of different variety of people. Prefer face-to-face interviews. And this is mainly because a lot of that information, what people like and dislike, actually you gotta be observing their body language, right? You can tell when you're talking to people a little bit more about when you're talking to them in person what they like and what they dislike, right? So you gotta be looking for those nonverbal cues because people, as your family, they might tell you that they love your product, but they might not say actually never use it, right? If you're just starting with your interviews, I would say start with the people that you already know. There's no shame in that. However, eventually what you will need to do to have a meaningful customer discovery, you gotta go out of those circles that you have, right? You gotta ask the strangers that do not care about you, that do not love you, right? Take someone along with you. I would say this is kind of optional. A lot of times we've seen that you will be able to gather more information through those. It's easier to be when you have two people, one is taking notes and the other one is actually, leading the conversation. Also, it will allow you to, different people pick up on different things to kind of compare the perspective. It's not necessarily so subjective, right? Pick a neutral location. That kind of goes to for people, you want people to open up to you, right? Feel comfortable when they're talking to you, if you can. Ask for sufficient time. You're gonna tell people that you're looking for 30 minutes, stick with 30 minutes. Do not go for an hour because potentially when you're going to go back to them and ask them to try your product or meet again, they might say, you know what, I don't necessarily have an hour to actually meet with you, right? This is a big thing. A lot of people come in and say, well, can we give people, like gift cards or something for actually interviewing with us? I was like, okay, let's think about it realistically, right? You're gonna pay me $20 with a Starbucks card and ask me about your product or whatever that is, right? What do you think I'm gonna say? Am I gonna say that for this product? No. I will probably, yeah, totally. I would use it. If I can get a $20 gift card, why not? But you want to get a more honest feedback, right? Because you cannot be giving everybody $20 gift cards when you're going to be going out there and talking to people. Neither when you're going to be, you're not going to be paying people in order to use your product. People should be paying you, right? So that is really important. Avoid recording the interviews. It is really helpful when you know when they say word by word. However, a lot of people feel kind of awkward with being recorded. And if you do record, you can ask them for permission before that, but I would kind of avoid that, but it would make like written notes. Document results immediately after the interview. I think this is pretty straightforward, right? To capture all the information that you have. Prepare yourself to interview 30 to 60 people. And that prepare yourself, right? A lot of times, it depends what your solution is. Talking to the right people, right? In the beginning, it might be kind of easy when you're casting that wide net, but you need to plan your customer discovery. For some of you, you might be reaching out to doctors, or some people that don't necessarily have that much time within their day-to-day activities and are harder to reach. You get a plan for it ahead. You will not be able to get 10 interviews tomorrow if you're going to be trying to interview executives or product managers and things like that, because people are busy, right? So come up with a list of names that you're supposed to reach out to, and reach out to them today and right now, right? Consider outsourcing interview scheduling. I think that's not necessarily. So how you should get, a lot of people are like, oh my God, how am I going to be talking to 100 plus people, right? The one thing is, like, if you are not able to talk to 100 plus people, right, how can I know as an investor that you will be able to reach 100 people or sell a product to 100 people, right? If you cannot even find people that are willing to talk about the problems that they have and are potentially your customers, how are you going to be selling your product, right? If you cannot reach them right now, you're not going to be able to reach them when you're selling your product, right? And how are you going to get to it? Ask for referrals, right? Right after the interview, hey, do you know other people that I can connect with, right? And that is how you're gonna get to those 100 plus interviews. You might not have 100 plus people in your network right now that might be using your product, but I guarantee you, after having 10 interviews, you're gonna have another 30 people that you can actually talk to. So do not leave the interviews without referrals for other interviews. There's one book that I actually recommend when it comes to customer discovery. It's called Running Lean. You can send the link to it.
It's a bunch of copies around here if you want to borrow one.
Yeah, it's an awesome book. Perfect step-by-step guide on how to conduct the problem interview as well as the solution interview. What are the questions that you should be asking for? How to structure interviews, and a lot of things that I actually covered here. So I would definitely recommend reading that book or actually, taking a stab at it. So when you're going to be going out there, here are some of the tools that you can be using when you're going to be doing customer discovery, right? So that's the business model canvas, value proposition canvas, lean canvas. So there are a lot of canvases right now that you can be using. It is really up to you which one you're actually going to choose. A lot of times, what you should be thinking about your customer discovery, right? When you're going in every week, when you're going with your team, what I would suggest is start with those hypotheses, like this is what we thought, right? And then you're gonna come back and say like, okay, this is what we learned, and then what are the steps that we're gonna do next? How are you gonna adjust that business model to be something that people, to make it a viable business model? You should have interview and script guidelines, right? So work with your team to construct the right questions to be asking. An interview demographic spec sheet, right? And if you read the Running Lean book, they kind of have you know, a section about like, okay, these are the things that I'm gonna be collecting from my customers, right, to get that baseline. There's a lot of this.